a very warm welcome to the NFDIxCS Soiree, new standards, conversations on research data and software management. And I hope you had a brilliant day so far. I'm Ariana Dongos from the German Informatics Society, and I'm very delighted to moderate today's eighth soiree, where we'll look in detail at the making of this beautiful new coffee table book that we celebrate the launch today, which is called New Standards, Conversations on Research, Data, and Software Management. And yeah, this book brings together insights from 13 international researchers on best practices and research data and software management and their experiences. And the idea is to transform what is often perhaps an abstract discussion into a vivid interdisciplinary exchange. So tonight we'll hear from the editorial team about the project's visions and creation processes, followed by a brief conversation with one of our contributors. A very warm welcome here again from my side to Menare Royal Mabakeng on open land data and community-driven research. After that, there will be plenty of time for a Q&A with all the guests. Let me quickly jump into the beautiful. There's even more participants right now. So also a very warm welcome to the people who joined just now. You didn't miss anything. Perhaps a quick note that this session is being recorded so that later on we can upload and share this beautiful session so that the people who cannot make it tonight can also have a listen. So yeah, let's get started with the editorial team and in specifics with Firas Al-Laban and Jan Bernot. Firas and Jan, you would guide us for a few minutes through the genesis of the project and give a little bit of background. What was the idea behind the project? So the stage is yours, and a warm welcome to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ariana, and thank you for participating in our release day for this lovely little book. Um, yeah, I have the job to show you a little bit the time scale where it all began and where we are now. We started this project in 2022 in September. It is 2.5 years ago. There was application round in our faculty for natural science and mathematics, where Ulrike Lucke, the professor of our group, submitted a proposal of making open educational resources for her course of research data management. And these little open educational resources should show, yeah, the huge variety in research data and research software management by having some interviews, putting this together in a little profile about these persons behind these stories, and show the students how important it is, how large it sometimes is, and how you can, yeah, go along with data and software and have this also as your research purpose, but also alongside to your research discipline. 1 year later, um, we had the funding and we started to arrange these interviews by putting together a list of people who are connected to our, of course, network in research and science, and who are also, a mix of different genders, a mix of different disciplines like computer science, where everything belongs to in our education, but also over the computer science. Um, among these different disciplines, like natural science, but also social science and humanities. And we tried also to put different perspectives into the interviews, like to have a national view, of course, a University of Potsdam view, where everything was funded initially, and also an international view. And in the end of 2023, in November, we've started the interviews, and Firas will give you a little insight how we structure these interviews.
Yes, Good afternoon for everyone. Hopefully that my voice is clear for everyone. Exactly this, as my colleague Jan expressed, the first challenge or the first step was how to create or how to can imagine to build these interviews for interdisciplinary interviewees in research data management. And for this purpose, we started with a guideline, a general guideline at the beginning. And our discussions guide us to structure this guideline in three main streams of questions. The first one was a focus on establishing research data management in general, and the second one in best practicing and implementation, with the third one about empowering research data and software management. But we tried in somehow to make this guideline, and we tailored for each interviewee a kind of interview that fit with the purpose of and the field of the interviewee that we'd like to speak about. The good thing that we try to end each interview with open question, but we thought about the way that we make this equation not kind of traditional question. So in this case, we open and we end the interview and we make it like an open discussion at the end, and we asked them how you can send a message yourself to prepare for this the challenge of the open science and research data management that all the researchers today who get involved in this issue face these challenges. What the message that we'd like to say. The good things that the interviewee like this, and we collect many ideas from this, which reflected as a gold words and cited in this book. Readers can see that actually. So now I think Ariana or maybe Jan would like to continue
Yeah,
on this.
yeah, thank you for this insight. And we have a large variety on so many good stories to have in front of us that we discussed as in our small group and thought of maybe creating just OERs out of it, OERs, is maybe a little bit too little, and we want to make it a little bit larger, something to give people and to show how different perspectives are in research and also on research data and software management itself. And so we try to integrate people who are actually working on uh, publishing work about computer science and topics beyond. And these are the people from the Gesellschaft für Informatik, like Alexandra, Greta, Julia, and Ariana came also to this little working group. And you can guide us now to the result, Alexandra.
Thank you, Jan. Yeah, it's really nice that we get to reveal the design of the whole thing. And to get started, I would like to be very honest. When I first heard about this project, I was a bit skeptical because I thought, okay, this topic, a coffee table book, because a coffee table book, what you have in mind is like architecture, photography, and also usually scientific interviews are very different than journalistic interviews. But and I think you can hear that from the way Jan and Firas are talking. They are very passionate about the topic and they are very good interviewers. I mean, Ryle, we will hear your perspective on this later, I guess. So that we had a lot of great material and it was really fun to put it together into this kind of publication that we have now, which has arrived today in boxes. And as I'm not in the office, I'm really curious to have it in my hand. And Greta has been so nice to include some of the screenshots so you can get a first look at the book. This is kind of our style. You get an idea. We worked with a creative agency for this book because we had the idea of making it look very, like magazine style more than a scientific publication. We wanted it to be something that you actually read while you drink a coffee or a tea or whatever your choice of beverage is. And we have some additional information on this on top of the interviews, which is here. Greta, maybe you can say a few words on this timeline to kind of also show readers a bit of an introduction into the whole topic.
Yes, right. Yeah, we also wanted to give the reader some side information on the main topic. This is the chapter Code Breaking News, where we present some some main milestones from the history of research data management. So, like Alexandra said, we have this coffee table book style, which usually has more pictures than text. But yeah, we kind of wanted to give a little introduction to the main topic, and so that each interview that we will show you here, like the first interview, putting communities on the map, we will hear more about that later from Minare Royal Mabakeng. And yeah, we wanted to support each topic with pictures so that you have something where you can easily read through, no matter if you're from the discipline or not, so that it's easy to engage with the book. So here you have some of the slides. And also, like Fira said before, we wanted to give people the opportunity to engage, like to have a link where you can read about the project, maybe get in contact with the people. And yeah, this is also something we had with the glossary at the end of the book. We wanted to give an overview of the main definitions that are mentioned in the different interviews. Yeah, so that people from other disciplines can also understand each topic. So yeah, so that it's accessible for a variety of people.
Exactly. So our idea was to have readers with different knowledge baselines have an access to the book. And obviously, we also included ways to get involved with the project, newsletters, and soirees like this one, obviously. And I think what you can tell, or maybe what might be one of the first questions, is why are you doing a book? You're working in informatics. But the experience that we have made, also we talked about this in the group, is that something printed also presents a certain value. It gives you a certain level of curation, which, you know, an online blog might not always give you. And our idea was to make these conversations a tool to make this topic a bit less abstract. I think we can skip through this. We have already heard a bit. And I don't know if you saw in the design as well, we played with fonts, we played with types. So we had a lot of fun with it. And it was a quite interesting way to bring a bit of life to this topic, to show the faces behind it as well. I think you can go to the next slide.
That is actually the last slide. Oh no,
perfect.
Sorry, there was a bit of a delay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really was excited to see, as you said, Alexandra, to play like with the different fonts and like how you format a text really has or makes an impact on how you perceive it. And I really think it's beautiful that you give like a tangible product such as a coffee table book, which is also aesthetic, to like this idea of like rather abstract associations that you would have with research data management even. So I think this is really beautiful. And if you don't mind, Greta, or if you like, you could just like maybe go back a little bit so we can have some more of the screenshots and just like let them support our conversations. I would be interested in like maybe to the whole editorial team, but you guys feel free to pick whatever question speaks to you. Were there any interviews or stories that particularly moved or inspired you, that kind of like change maybe the course of what you had in mind with the selection process of this coffee table book, or in general your ideas on research data management? Maybe this is more for Firas and Jan, I guess.
I don't want to highlight one single story because I
Yeah.
think the variety of stories is really, really astonishing, because you see, so I'm a computer scientist, and Firas also work in the same discipline. So we mostly do our software things. And I learn from day to day that the software perspective, of course, is important, but it's for a lot of disciplines also new. And we are a little bit outside in our discussion because we want to talk about other topics than other people. And to see here what's in the core of the disciplines? What are people working with? What are institutions working with? And where are the challenges in their day-to-day business? But also, of course, this is a little presentation of their work. They want to show also the highlights of their own story, of their own researcher life. It is good to see that we have here, for example, a mathematician example where young researchers show how important it is to publish software and also the data. And mathematicians don't have usually large data sets. But in this direction, there was uh, it was applied mathematicians. So she handles also with larger data sets, but also to see stories from Namibia, things where they are working in the ground to show um, data sets which are made by different sensors and shared with the communities, but also to see things, for example, from the GWDG, which is in Göttingen, where they have presented a project by Ramin Yayapur, where you have in a country far away a research project and want to duplicate it from them to here and other way around, and they are different obstacles to take it. And this was really interesting to see how different the work lives are in this direction.
I
If
would
I,
actually like to highlight. Oh, Firas, you go first.
sorry, ladies first.
I would like to actually highlight the one that's on the screen now, which to me was really interesting because it has this community factor as well, right? I mean, we're going to hear more about it later, but I thought that was a really interesting aspect of the whole topic, that you have to not only make the tools you're working with available for scientists, but also for communities you work with and for communities you want to involve in your research. And I thought that was really interesting. And to me, because my background is not in computer science, my background is in literature, the story about the database of theater plays that you can search for all the lines of female characters or all the stage directions was gold. And I wished I had something like this when I was still studying. So that was really cool.
One thing I would like to add, exactly the same direction, but my colleague Jan has emphasized on that. We are in the for me, for each interview I have held it and done, I learned new things. And especially that when we are speaking about research and software management, well, our expectation that's mostly that we are much closer to informatics and computer science who are involved in this topic. But we get surprised that too many persons in different disciplines, in different fields, they are really involved and they are really get very realized of the importance of the open science and the research data management, how much that's reflected positively on the research concepts and the philosophy of the new research in the futures. For example, let me give some example from the interviewees that I met with them. Some of them, they are imaging about the scientific issue and also in the industry issue in like bioinformatic militia. And also when you are speaking about the using astronomy science and also I'm also highlight the big effort that Royal made in landscaping and using this data in different fields. So actually, from each of the interview, there is an input in this regard, and the book realized that very clearly.
Yeah, thank you everyone for sharing this. I think it's beautiful to see the centrality of research data management and best practices, or what you can like learn to improve the process, but also the centrality of data, data-based research throughout a variety of disciplines. Yeah, like from like the so-called high sciences of astronomy, but also it is central in so many other disciplines. And I think like to me, I was only actually like reading through the book when it was already finished. And of course, I was listening in through the conversations of my colleagues. But now seeing it together, I think it's very beautiful because it both shows the centrality of research data management, but also the variety and like how it can be applied how it can be applied in different settings. And looking at one setting in particular, we now want to turn to Minare Royal Mabakeng. A warm welcome again. You are one of the researchers interviewed in the New Standards book. You are a lecturer in land administration at the Namibia University of Science and Technology, and a PhD candidate in spatial sciences. And your research focuses on using open land data to improve tenure security and to support participatory informal settlement upgrades, especially for women and youth. And you're collaborating very closely with local communities in Namibia. And yeah, I think your work offers really like central valuable insights into data management in geoinformatics, but also beyond that, the centrality or the importance of like understanding who you're designing for, or who you're like using the data for, like what is the community, the context that you are active in as a researcher. Yeah, so very warm welcome to you. So your research focuses on using open land data to improve tenure security, as said. What do you, from your experience, can tell us about the role that communities play in ensuring maybe the accuracy, but also the impact of this data? Maybe you can like invite us a little bit in to give us an overview about the research project that you did there.
Okay, thank you very much, Ariana. And also thank you to the team for inviting me to be part of such a wonderful piece of work. I would also call it a piece of art. When just looking at the book, it looks very, very nice. At least I hope we could have some copies this side as well, because it will also start a very important conversation within Namibia. I'm quite happy to be here and very excited to share about our project. Just to get a brief overview, we started focusing on the availing of informal settlement data to support our research. But this work was already in the pipeline from the Namibia Housing Action Group that works with the Shack Dwellers Federation. Just to give a bit of a background in terms of what we are dealing with when we are talking about the Namibian context. So in Namibia, what we see is that there are thousands of residents that are living in informal settlements without any formal recognition, which makes it very difficult to plan and also to deliver services. And some of the reasons we get for the limited prioritization of informal settlements is that there is a lack of data. Normally, if you go on to OpenStreetMap, it will be very difficult for you to see informal settlements on the map themselves. So what we decided to do was to start a collaborative project here at the Namibia University of Science and Technology in collaboration with the Namibia Housing Action Group and the Shack Dwellers Federation to map informal settlements using OpenStreetMap, and also to build on the proven success of community-based organizations that collect their own data. We see that our process is not just about mapping and creating data that can be used for research purposes, but we also believe that when settlements appear on official maps, or at least on maps that are available online, it can become visible to planners and policymakers when they have to make decisions for these different informal settlements. And community participation is central to our processes. We believe that when we involve the residents themselves in the data collection and verification, it ensures that the data is accurate, and then it also reflects the situation on the ground. So maybe just to close off, together with communities and students here at the university, we are not just creating something new, we are building on work of community work that has been done for the past 30 years. And we are not just mapping places, we are mapping the possibilities that the data that we do create is not only informing our reporting and our research, but it's also possible that it might bring change to the different communities. So that's just a brief overview in terms of the work that we're doing. Ariane, back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would be also, interested in hearing more about the positive outcomes in order, like, to help these people, receive more official recognition. But maybe to circle back a bit, how, like, do you need to ensure that communities remain engaged and also benefit from the data, or is this more like already like a voluntary act? Like, because you already said that they already collected data, so that is really interesting. So they already were aware that this could improve their situation, or how was the process of you approaching them?
Okay, so what normally happens, I would want to speak about one case study that we worked on last year, is that we, at times, we are approached by the communities to initiate a data collection process, and then we look at the benefits for the community and our own benefits. We look at having research outputs that can prove some of the theories that we have with regard to how tenure insecurity actually impacts the living conditions of settlements. In that instance, there's always a win-win from the community and also from the university. Not all communities are engaged in data collection. We have some communities that do have some sort of understanding and knowledge on how to do that. So when we enter a new community, we normally have to provide training and create awareness. It's not always just a rosy process where we are welcomed and everyone wants to work with us. It has to go through a process of negotiation and also for communities to build trust, that they can trust us and that we are not coming to provide data that government can use to evict them from the settlement. So we go through a negotiation process, we do some trainings, and then we collect the data. After the data is collected, we share it back with the community through what we call feedback meetings, where the community has to say that the data we are collecting is actually reflecting their situation and not something that we have collected by ourselves and, sort of inflated any figures on incomes or affordability or the challenges in accessing basic services, etc. The community validates this data by saying that that's our data. We do agree that what you're presenting reflects our situation. And we take the data back to use in our research, and the community takes the data further to the municipalities to say, our situation, this is how our situation looks like. We are not just saying we are struggling, but we are struggling in this way, and this is how many people are struggling. But we are also available to help improve our own conditions if you create the platforms. So that's how we go about ensuring that the communities participate and also just initiating the engagements as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. There is a hand.
It's mine.
It's yours.
Hi.
I see it.
Can I ask also a question to Royal?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, you said you have to create trust in this negotiation process. And the question from my side is, with having mostly open data or publish data? Is this also a part where you create trust and say, okay, this is what we have done, and this is what we are trying to do with the data if we collect them and try to get them involved into this research process?
Yes, yes. So one of the things that we try to do, and I hope I get to answer your question properly. What we do is that we first have to make sure the community welcomes us and that they are open to the data collection processes. But we also provide some clarity that the data we are collecting will be made available online and can be accessed by anyone anywhere in the world. But we also ensure that we provide the assurance that we are not putting their personal data online. We are not going to have them identified through the maps. Like you can't go onto a map and say, this is where Royal resides. So we try to create that trust. And we also show them how the platforms looks like where the data is already stored. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is like a really central issue here around data privacy and not being able to kind of like backtrack individuals, but it is more about as the title also. That's what I'm getting from it, is to putting whole communities on the map for formal recognition through state officials. And I think yeah, of course, this is really a big part of trust making to ensure that that data is used adequately. I would be interested from your experiencing or from your experience as a researcher in your field and in the regions that you're active, how would you personally see digital tools and open source data influence the future of informal settlements? Like how, let's say, hopefully realistic is your hope or your intention to uplift communities through that work, because this is I think a central issue in work.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ariana. Just to check, how much time do I have? Because it's more like speaking
if
about.
You can answer within a minute, and then we could go to the Q&A, because I guess there's also
Okay.
because we have now 11 minutes more or less.
Oh, 11. Okay. All right. No, because I have to ask, because this is something
Thank
that
you.
I'm
Very,
passionate
very considerate.
about.
Yeah.
Okay. No, okay. So I think digital tools will become very significant in supporting informal settlement upgrading. And this can be by, just streamlining the data management process. Not only we are moving from a place where we mostly worked with analog maps. We printed our maps and we will do the mapping with the community and then present hand-drawn maps back to the community. But now with all these digital tools available, we will see that there will be a reduction in time in terms of collecting data, analyzing, and also sharing the data, not only with the communities, but also with different stakeholders. And I also think that if we do improve our capacity in creating platforms for data sharing, communities can also benefit, from this improved data management process. Because the faster decisions are made, I think the faster we can change the living conditions of people in informal settlements in Namibia and also just the developing world in general.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Royal, for taking the time and for giving your insightful experience on your research. I think this is really one of the central issues or aspects of where we can see how research data management really rolls out on the ground and can really improve the life of people, hopefully in the future to come and in the present. I would now like to open the floor to the participants, the audience, to ask questions. Maybe also, from the editorial team, there's a question to each each of you or to Royal. Please feel free to do so. And dear audience, also please feel free to raise your hand or make yourself heard through the chat. I would be glad to transmit your question to the group here gathering on Zoom. What I would be interested in understanding from maybe all of you or whoever wants to, you don't all have to reply, but I think personally, but I'm also biased because I'm very excited about this book. Maybe you are all also biased because you participated in it. But what would you think, or what you hope could be the impact of a book like this? It's really like I have not seen anything alike on that topic. So I hope it will have a large impact on academic institutions in Europe and, of course, beyond Europe. What would you think this impact, like how big can this impact be? Like, what are your hopes?
To answer like really quick, what I found really interesting while working on this book was the wide range of perspectives from different disciplines and career stages, so that we had like young postdocs who were just at the beginning of their career, and then we had the more experienced researchers that already had a lot of best practices to offer, and that while you read through all these interviews, you could really tell like the things they had in common and things that were really different. And I think it's a really nice book, especially in the research area, if you want to not feel lonely and to see, okay, these are the challenges others have as well. And this is something like we can all like talk about, and we have maybe the same issues also, even if we're in different disciplines, different institutes, different countries where everyone's working. Yes, this is what I really wanted, what I really found very, very nice about this book.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what the impact will be, right? But I think it's just a small puzzle. And yeah, it's just a small puzzle piece in the larger picture, I would say. And I was some weeks ago at the German Research Data Alliance conference here in Potsdam, and of course, I had to do a little advertisement about this book and say, okay, this is upcoming work, and we are in print now. It will be soon there. And afterwards, I had a small discussion with a person who said, "Wow, that you have done this." And she said that she has also tried to create a podium-like discussion in her institution, and to present the same topic as well, show researchers behind the research data and research software management, and publish their work and show what's are maybe obstacles, but also what are the benefits in the process. And people said, no, I don't think we need this here. And this could not be as interesting for the wide audience. And so hopefully such things like this book, and but also other work as well, could help to people to argument that this is really a topic which is necessary, and we need to talk about it, and we need to get to widen a little bit the community, that not only the same people present good practices as they have done year and year at the same conferences, but that people outside of these enthusiastic focus group also see, okay, here we need to do there something. We need to use the infrastructure which is created and so on, and that this topic can get larger to an audience which is not yet included. And hopefully this is a nice looking book, and hopefully this will widen the community a little bit.
Yeah, I would like to double down on this. I think what it does, or what I hope it does, is to give this big topic a kind of a face, or faces. And it shows that it's not just the faces of like the heads of the universities, but it's all layers. There's also on this particular page, you also see the face of an artist who is also working with these tools, with these topics, with these challenges. And what I thought Greta was making this point as well. Jan and Firas managed to make it very relatable, these interviews, especially with that last question that Firas mentioned, where each researcher was asked, what they would do different if they were to begin studying now, or what they would say to their younger selves. You have people there, you have like really renowned researchers who said like, yeah, I should have named my files better than test one, test two, test three, and so on. And this was really, I think it was really entertaining and also really relatable.
If I could have I'd like to address the thing that also Royal mentioned, and somehow that also this book can, after we manage those interview with different level of academic interest, we realized that we have now different dimensions. And this also mentioned at the beginning of the book. And these things, I think, also this book could be read in different aspect. One can read it as from the decision maker's point of view, and also can give some input for the policy maker, or maybe from recruiters or creators. So yes, as Royal mentioned, this also could be a good input for the policymaker who are in academic or in research centers nationally or internationally, or the European strategies. Here we are. The open science is really related to all disciplines, to also for collaborations with industry and collaboration between different fields of study. But the benefit from when we are making this infrastructure, where could be that give an input for research in the future, and what the philosophy of that. So this could be could be highlighted from this book, and input from this book as well.
Yeah, thank you, Firas. I think Royal, you also were raising your hand. So.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I should make a pitch so that we can get some funding for some community projects, but I'm hoping that this book would be a seed that it will be planted in any potential researcher that has access to it, to see that I, as a researcher, can work directly with communities and not just take data back to the lab and, finish my thesis, my research project, but I also need to bring data back to the community. I think it can be that. I think it is possible. But I also think it can create opportunities for potential funders to see that there are opportunities to fund communities as contributors to generating data. I think we are moving away from having communities just as subjects that are involved in our research. We can also see them as partners, and I think this book provides that sort of seed. It's planting a seed, hopefully that will sprout in the minds of potential researchers and funders. That's my hope. I'm crossing fingers.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think you all really put your perspectives on like what it is, a conversation on research data and software management that hasn't started with the book and that will for sure not end with the book, but it is a beautiful like maybe crystallization point where we can spread out in many different directions. And also, Roy, you said it that it is important to kind of like think about the so-called subjects, quote unquote, that we work with, and to kind of like understand them as co-producers and as a important part of the research. I think that is a really beautiful an important aspect of doing research in general. And with that being said, we are on point. It is 6:15, and I really appreciate you all taking the time to come together and to celebrate the launch of this beautiful book. Dear listeners, I posted in our chat that you can order the book via NFDI NFDIxCS-team@gi.de, but you can also just go on our blog. You don't have to like maybe copy this email. You can also just go on our blog and you'll find it under publications, and you can not only pre-order, now you can order the book. We have it and we will be happy to ship it to you. And yeah, if there's no more questions from the audience, I would like to conclude this soiree, the eighth soiree of our series. And I'm really happy that you all made it here online. And I thank you a lot, and I wish you a great evening.
Thank you for your moderation.
Thank you very much.